Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and in this edition of Let's Learn Dragon Ball FighterZ, we're going to be talking about Superjump installs. Now, what is that exactly, you might ask? And hey, you probably know the concept of super jumping, right? If you get down and up, you jump higher than if you just held up, right? So a Superjump install is giving various moves and actions the properties of a super jump. And what specific property are we looking for? Well, it is this. Unlike a regular style jump, a super jump gives you a modicum of aerial control. Like I can kind of float my way forward or float my way backwards or backwards and forwards, right? Anything I want, right? Once you already jump in the air, like on a regular jump, you have no control over the air. Only a super jump, be it after you double jump or not, has any amount of air control. And you do this simply by holding up, back, or up, forward, or neutral if you don't want to float in a specific direction at all. And it's really that simple. So all you have to do is super jump, and then holding up, back, or up, forward, you'll float a little bit into that direction of your choice. So now that you understand that concept, once again, it's pretty simple. What we can do then is give that float property, the super jump float property here, to other moves and to other actions. So one of the classic examples of the super jump install technique is giving the super jump property, and thus, the floating and aerial control, to an instant air dash. And here, let's just show a quick example here before we get more in depth. So say I do an instant air dash here as low to the ground as I can here. As you can see, I can't quite go over the opponent's head, right? And now let me just turn on our input history so you can see here. And now if I use the super jump install technique, I'll try to float over to the right as much as I can, and I'll just barely clear over their head. As you can see there, right? And conversely, I can do the exact same deal here and just hold up, back, and stay on the same side. So when doing it this way, there's two ways to do it. You need the instant air dash. That's kind of part of the recipe, right? So all you have to do if you want to do it the manual way is just hit down, up, forward, and then forward for your instant air dash. So it'll look something like this. And it's literally that simple. So down, up, forward, forward, and then I hold the direction I choose to float in. Conversely, you can also use a new shortcut here. So down, up, forward, and homing dash. Be it either a macro if you're playing on pad or just heavy and special if you're playing on stick. And you can also just do it that way. And then you can just keep holding in the direction you want. Or conversely here, you can hold up, back to float the other way, right? So whatever way is easier for you, perfect. But that is just a basic example of how to do it. And let's show it in application. So right now, I'm just going to do a basic block string, this string specifically here. So it is airtight, and the enemy will just try to jab out at the end of it. And let's just do a basic example here, and we're just going to instant air dash and be the same side as normal. Alright, so it was basically what you expected, right? So we did the block string, and we instant air dash in, and we attacked. And if they blocked, awesome. If not, well, then whatever, right? But now we're going to use the power of the super jump installed dash, instant air dash, to float over to the other side and hit him cross up. So as you can see there, we hit him cross up. So that effectively became a little bit of a left-right mix-up. Now, one thing to briefly keep in mind, I showed that little enemy going for the jab after they recover. It's specifically because when you are in block stun, there is no left-right mix. There's high-low mix, but if you're in true block stun, then if you just hold back, after the first block, you'll still block a cross-up. So therefore, in the example we just showed you, the enemy was jabbing just to show there's just enough of a gap for them to do something, so it does become a true left-right mix-up. So that's all well and good. As you saw, that was just a basic example of what's going on here. And that is specifically just for instant air dashes, but there's a lot more applications than that, right? Then going a little bit further or a little bit shorter. Extending your airtime also lets you get mix-ups you normally could not before. And we'll use Android 21 again as our example here. And this is for a lot of characters. A lot of characters can use concepts like this, but we'll just show with Android 21. So Android 21, just like everyone else, after her level 3 super, it is a true hard knockdown. The enemy has to get up in a fixed amount of time, and that's usually the perfect amount of time to get some shenanigans going, right? For Android 21, however, just so you know, when she instant air dashes after the level 3 hard knockdown, any attack she'll do will miss right off the bat. because it's just a little too quick, as you can tell there, right? She can still do the instant air dash and then like go for like lows and stuff like that. That works out just fine, but she can't really get anything direct from it. However, with the power of the super jump install on our instant air dash here and giving us the float, we can stay in the air just a little bit longer, and then we can get a hit.
I'm sorry, what is this?
Alright, so now we're going to use the technique we've been talking about this whole time, and use that float to be in the air just a little bit longer. And once you know it, we just stayed in the air just a smidge longer, and that gave us enough time to bop him on the head with a jumping attack. And what does that mean? Well, now that we've already established normally it misses when we do a level 3, right? Normally when we do the instant air dash and we go for a move, it'll miss, and our only option from there is a low. It basically gives us, you know, hey, a little bit of mix-up potential, right? So now we can go for the whiff instant air dash, land, light, or we can hold it, float, and land on their head with the jump medium right away, creating basically some mix-up potential. It's a basic mix, sure, to be sure, but it's one that isn't possible without using the float property of the super jump install. And to end up in this video here, I just want to show you it's a lot more than just like instant air dashes and like that kind of stuff here, even though that's a really big one. But you can also give the super jump property to moves, letting moves have that float property. And we'll use Gogeta as our first example. So Gogeta here, he has the Kamehameha fake out move, right? And he can be like, you know, one of the 3 different positions, that kind of stuff. But if we give it the super jump property, which we will do by doing the same motion, because it is a quarter circle forward motion, as you can see here. So we'll do the quarter circle forward motion and just hit up forward. So up forward gives it a jump, basically. We're canceling the first frame of the jump into the move. And then, because, you know, the quarter circle forward property has a down and a down forward in it, which are both needed for a super jump. Ending with the ups forward gives us the super jump install, and now all of a sudden the move can do other things. For example here, normally when you do the move here, you're just going to fall in wherever you were, right? So if you're further back, you fall further back. If you're up, you just fall right to the ground, that kind of stuff. But if you do a super jump version here, so once again, the quarter circle forward motion, and then ending with up forward, also sometimes known as the tiger knee motion. Now that we have super jump installed it, hey, what's going to happen here? Oh, instead of going straight down, we kind of just float it to the side here on the other side. So you will have to be able to jump, right? Even if it's only for 1 frame. So you can't use this in, say, a block string and then float over and get a mix-up or anything. But still, it lets you have more angles of attack than the regular version would normally allow you, because the regular version only lets you fall straight down, right? That's one example. Let's move on to Janemba. Same kind of idea. So Janemba has all manner of teleports and can teleport in all manner of directions, right? And it works in the same way, much the same. So we'll teleport straight up, but we'll do a super jump version of it here, even though we're on the ground, and we'll do it as close to the ground as possible. And the super jump version of the air teleport will let us float over to the other side for a mix-up. As you can see there, that's simple. So once again, just do the teleport motion, add an up forward, and then you can float over. And it could be any direction you want, as long as it's aerial to float. If you teleport to the ground, it's not going to work so much. But yeah, so you can float, cross over, float backwards if you're trying to bait out like a reversal or a down heavy. There's so many options to work with. And once again here, now let's move over to Broly. Same idea. Now for Broly, the Tiger Knee version of the air grab is very important for him, as it lets him do his aerial grab as low to the ground as possible, versus like say trying to jump and do it, which takes a lot more time, right? So you get to the meat of the move that you want right away. And since once again we use that motion here of, in this case, quarter circle back and then hitting up back to get the jump, because he needs to be airborne to do this move, it inherently gives him the super jump install property. So say if he goes for the move and it doesn't connect, he can just float in any direction he so chooses, as you can see there, right? So it gives him another defensive/offensive layering if he whiffs the move. So super jump installs are very useful across the board. So there you have it. Now, once again, is kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of possibilities here, to say the least. Instant air dash stuff, the character-specific things I've been showing you, just there's a lot more to be found, like not the least of which, say, if you're in Sparking the Blast, right? Since you're in Sparking, you're allowed to jump cancel everything, even on block, right? You can jump cancel into a super jump and then super jump install something else of your choice, right? So there's a lot to work with, and please experiment and please see what you can find for yourself. And hey, if you found something cool, hey, let me know, right? But other than that, my friends, I guess that is the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.